Do you think this picture is too high? I am trying to improve my living room with stuff that I already have. Hey, this is Kathleen from oldwolffarmhouse.com. If you're new to my channel, I am currently working on refreshing my living room using just things that I've already got. I love studying interior design principles and I'm trying to make the best of what I've got. I love secondhand and thrifted and eclectic design. And I've been doing a whole series about my living room, and today I am working on using some rules of thumb, interior design rules of thumb that I have read about to improve the decor over my mantelpiece in my living room and on my mantelpiece. The first rule of thumb that really made sense to me was that whatever's over your mantle should be about 80% the width of your mantelpiece. So I used that as a measurement and I figured out how wide my artwork should be. And my mantelpiece is huge, so I ended up pulling artwork from all over my house. I did not set out to make a gallery wall, but there's just so much space up there, and when you're trying to use 80% of it, it adds up to quite a bit. And then the second rule, besides the width, is that everything should be, there was different opinions out there, but between 4 to 8 inches above the mantle only, which came as news to me. I was sort of used to thinking of things as higher, and I don't know if you could see there, but there's a dot where there was a nail from whoever used to own the house, and they obviously had something hung there which is kind of floating, free floating, but it actually does look better according to the designers if things are only about 4 to 8 inches up from your mantle. And then depending on how tall it is, another rule of thumb I read said about 33% of the white space should be below your content, your pictures, and then maybe 66% above. So that's why I ended up adding a second row of pictures, because my first row just looked a little empty. And so I kept running around my house looking for more and more pictures. And I have about 4 inches on either side. And so that's why I added this little one there, because it was just looking a bit empty. Another rule of thumb I tried to follow was to have between 2 and 4 inches between each framed picture, no more, but no less either. And it was a little tricky for me to measure, but most of them are 2.5 to 3.5 inches in between, and I think it looks pretty good. And another rule of thumb from Rita Koenig is avoid tram lines, which means don't have everything going straight. And so I try to variegate where the corners pick up and leave off so that it looks kind of interesting and eclectic instead of just like straight, even lines like a grid system or a city block. And then the last thing I did was I added a few little icons there at the end to kind of round out the composition up there in the upper left hand corner. And I am really pleased with what I came up with, and it's making the mantle much more of a focal point in our living room than it ever was in the past. Then I was inspired to go up to my boys' room, which I've been meaning to style and hang up art in their room forever, and I finally did it. So they have this really big picture of horses that I found at Goodwill. It's actually an oil painting and all these other things too. And I measured their mantelpiece, and lo and behold, this nice wide piece of art was, in fact, proportionally 80% of the width of the mantle. So I felt really good about hanging it. I hung it 6.5 inches up from the mantelpiece. And once I got it up there, I really felt like not much more needed to be done, because it was a great, it just proportionally, it worked really well. And I can see why that 80% is a rule of thumb. And I put some other little soccer trophies and model airplanes and ships and things back up. I tried different configurations. I didn't want them to conflict with the painting, but in the end, this is what I came up with, and I think it's really going to serve them well as they grow up. My 2 rules of thumb that I really found useful were make the artwork 80% the width of the mantelpiece and hang the artwork anywhere from 4 to 6 inches above the mantelpiece. Any higher than that and the artwork kind of looks like it's sort of free floating, and lower than that is probably fine too, like if you wanted to lean art on the mantle, but at least 4 to 8 inches if you're going to hang it. So I hope that you find these takeaways as helpful as I did when I was hanging things on my mantle. And please subscribe to my channel for more interior design rules of thumb and using and making the best of what you already own to make your house as beautiful as you can. Thanks so much for watching. This is Kathleen from oldworldfarmhouse.com, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.